Okay, today I'm going to be talking about a 5-year-old little girl from Ohio. I did want to get this story out here. It is very, very important. Her name is Anne-Marie, spelled capital M-A-R-I-E, Jones. Like I said, she's a 5-year-old little girl. And let me tell you her story very quickly. On September 13, 2025, Antavia Kennebrew, Amari's mother, had taken her to a trusted family friend's residence around the area of 145th and St. Clair while she underwent a medical procedure. While she was away, she got a phone call from her family member stating that her daughter had walked out of the house and she couldn't find her anywhere. Authorities were contacted. Mom immediately rushed home in a panic. Hey, Eve. Mom rushed home in a panic. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Very, very sad here, you guys. Very sad. Okay, so mom rushes home. And she arrives upon the scene as an EMS truck. She runs towards the EMS vehicle and finds her daughter unresponsive. And I just have to say it. I mean, you can't really make up some of these words. She was bloody. They had ripped her hair from her scalp. She was covered in bruises. Her fingernails had dirt in them. She showed signs of strangulation. Her mouth, lips. Her private area was filled with debris and dirt. And she had a big knot on her head. She found her daughter like this. What we found out was that an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 10-year-old allegedly did this to this little 5-year-old girl. An 8, a 9, and a 10-year-old. Can you find 8, 9, and 10-year-olds mentally aware of doing something like that? Now, the thing about it is, too, they charged the 10-year-old girl and the 9-year-old boy, but no charges have been brought against the 8-year-old. This is horrific because when they were looking for her, when they were looking for Anne-Marie, they come upon these kids playing at a park. They were playing at a park. So the 8, 9, and 10-year-old walks up to Amari, acting like they're friendly. They take her by the hand. They walk her into a field that is pretty far away from the house. While in that field, they did horrific things to the little 5-year-old girl. They beat her till she was unconscious. They ripped her hair out. They held, hey, Poppy, they held this child down, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 10-year-old, held this child down while they AR'd her, while she was AR'd, where they held her down and put things inside of her that should never even have been a thought in an 8 and 9 and 10-year-old mind. They urinated on her. A 5-year-old autistic little girl. And I am showing her picture. Her mother, I will show you the mom's Facebook page. She released some of the pictures of Amari in the hospital. I don't want to do that. I want to show her being beautiful. Horrible things they did to this little girl. I can't say it enough. An 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 10-year-old. We're not going to know for a long time what the 8, 9, and 10-year-old's family life is like because they're juveniles. They're juveniles. I wasn't even really sure how to even talk about this case, you guys. For real. Hey, the mouse. This case is so disturbing. Just disturbing. So they take her, they're befriending her, they walk her into the field, they beat her, they rip her braids out of her hair, they shove sticks down her throat, they urinated on her, they strangled her, they somewhere in these juveniles' minds was the thought that were they trying to unalive her? My mind is not grasping an 8, 9, and 10-year-old doing this. So they take her clothes off. They strangle her with her own shirt. They urinated on her. One of the 3 ingratiated their teeth on her bottom area to hold her still as they sexually assaulted her. You know what they did after that? What would an 8, 9, and 10-year-old do after that? They go to play at the park. They go to play at the park. Do you think that they, in their minds, were cared if she was still alive or not? I don't know, you guys. Weird. Okay. So they kept their mouth shut. They just kept playing. A family member that was still looking for Amari saw 2 of the 3 children that live on her street. She did not know at the time that they were two of the ones that harmed Amari. And she walks up to them and asks them if they saw a little girl. And they just looked at her and told her no and kept playing. They just kept playing after doing that to this little 5-year-old girl. Now, listen to this. So, while they were waiting on law enforcement, the same kids that the family member asked if they had seen a little girl, and they said no, they come with their mother. They come with their mom, saying that they knew where she was, right? Now they know where she was. Before, they said they didn't know. Their mother took the family member to where 5-year-old Amari was. She was naked, brutally beaten, penetrated, unresponsive, her clothes, her hair, and later found her shoes was scattered all around the field. A cousin panicked, and mom says they placed the daughter in a vehicle, rushed her back to their house, and continued to wait for authorities to get there. She's traumatized. Mom's traumatized. The whole family's traumatized. An 8, 9, and 10-year-old. 8, 9, and 10-year-old. Now, mom wasn't going to get the media involved, but we're talking about juveniles, right? We're talking about juveniles. The 9-year-old boy and the 10-year-old girl do have charges placed on them. But guess where they're at? They're not sitting in jail. They're at home with ankle monitors on. The 9-year-old didn't even show up for court. Because guess what? His mama's car broke down. They were having car trouble. Make that make sense. Now, the judge did state that Department of Children and Family Services in Ohio to step in as far as the 9-year-old. I'll have to look as far as the 10-year-old. So, at 5 years old, this baby girl is having horrendous thoughts in her head, you guys. She's already seen a therapist. Mom kind of felt that she just wasn't. Hey, Dee, how are you, girl? Mom felt that by justice not being served, that she was actually letting her 5-year-old daughter down. I can completely see that. How hopeless does all that seem? Why aren't these children in juvenile? Why aren't they being put in a mental health facility? They had to have had those thoughts in their head. And does it matter? Does it matter what their home life was like? Does it matter what they grew up with? I don't know, because like I said, they're juveniles. We're not going to know nothing about these kids unless somebody else says it. Unless somebody else is doing talking. They ruined this little girl's life. Oh my gosh, this is so sad. I almost didn't cover this because how the heck do you cover something like this? In October and November 2025, a 10-year-old girl and 9-year-old boy in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, were charged in juvenile court with multiple felonies, including attempted red rum, rape, well, I'm just going to say it, attempted murder, rape, felonious assault, kidnapping, and strangulation in connection with a brutal assault of a 5-year-old girl. Because of their age, the case has highlighted the limits of the juvenile justice system. Judge Kristen Sweeney ordered both children to home detention with electronic monitoring while undergoing competency evaluations. And let me, I'm going to go ahead and take that picture off of there. All right. Case status and proceedings as of November 2025. Charges. The children are accused of luring a 5-year-old child to a field on September 13, 2025, where she was severely beaten, assaulted, and left in critical condition. Both children appeared in Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court for arraignment. Judge Sweeney ordered both the 10-year-old and 9-year-old boy to, 10-year-old girl and 9-year-old boy to be placed on home detention with ankle monitors. Due to their age, the court ordered competency evaluations to determine if they're understanding the proceedings and their rights. Do you guys believe that a 9 and 10-year-old can understand court proceedings and their rights? The court requested that the County Children and Family Services investigate the matter. So, getting into the juvenile justice system and some of the legal constraints on that, Ohio law typically handles cases involving children under 10 within the juvenile system, which focuses on rehabilitation. However, experts notice that the system is not well equipped to handle defendants as young as 9 and 10 for crimes of this magnitude, calling it a test the system wasn't built to handle. Because do we really think about 8, 9, and 10-year-olds doing something like that? Who remembers the case in the UK where, remember those 2 young boys had taken that little boy from a mall and they took him out by the railroad tracks? I want to say the little boy's last name was it Bulger? In Ohio, a child can only be transferred to adult court, which is called a bindover, if they're 14 or older at the time of the offense. So a lot of times, right, these juveniles will be sent to juvenile detention, and no matter what their crime, when they turn, is it 21, they usually just get released. It doesn't matter what their crimes are. I still can't get over 8, 9, and 10 years old. If adjudicated delinquent, the juvenile equivalent of guilty, the court has various options for rehabilitation, including placement in the juvenile detention facilities or treatment programs. The primary legal hurdle is determining if the children this young can comprehend their actions or the legal process. Okay, so you have an 8, 9, and 10-year-old. They do these horrific things to this little girl. What in their minds, what were they thinking about? What had they been talking about that would allow their minds? It seems like they would have to have an idea of what they were going to do with Amare once they took her hand and led her away from home, right? Now, can we look at the 8-year-old and say, okay, maybe the 8-year-old was a follower, right? You got a 10-year-old girl. You know, you got a 9-year-old boy. Could the 8-year-old just be, you know, a follower at this point? This is a vicious crime. This is horrific. Do they think that telling these kids, you shouldn't have done that, you did wrong, bad children, but you go on and stay at home with your little ankle monitor on. You keep playing your little video games. You keep listening to your music. You sit and enjoy your little 10, 9, and 8-year-old life. Do you think that this little girl is sitting at home enjoying her life? I don't think so. It's very heartbreaking to have something like this happen. And I mean, what do we do? You know, we can put it out here, and it was very disturbing to me that these children were sent home. But then again, right, we know for a fact that their lawyers pled not guilty for them. Right? I mean, any lawyer's gonna, plead not guilty. I wonder when the two children who went and got mom to go to say they knew where this little girl was. I wonder if mom knew that they were involved. I wonder if she knew that. Probably not. They probably just went and said, hey, mom, I know where that little girl's at. They scalped her, you guys. They literally pulled her braids out of her head. The victim's mother expressed distress that the suspects were not held in secure detention. I agree with her 1,000%. These children are a danger. They're a danger. They're a danger to the community. They really are. That's just a matter-of-fact statement. 10, 9, and 8 years old. What was their environment like that they would even know? They would even know to be so messed up. Yeah, this is a bad adult crime. The Cleveland Division of Police Sex Crimes Child Abuse Unit is investigating the crime. So we are just waiting to see what happens. It will never go to court, though. It won't go to court. Do you know what got me, though? Because listen to this. This is what got me also. Witnesses corroborated allegations that a 5-year-old Cleveland girl was brutally attacked by other children. There were witnesses. Witnesses told police they saw 3 children brutally attack a 5-year-old girl last month. Corroborating statements from the victim's mother, who said her daughter was gang-ard in a field. Three children, 8, 9, and 10, brutally attacked, tortured, and actually assaulted little Amari. And Amari had been diagnosed with autism. 3 witnesses told investigators they saw children assaulting the victim. Oh, yeah, you can send me pictures. I love pictures. I need to pull my bears and stuff up. I got bears. I got hummingbirds. I definitely do. So, okay. Witnesses. Police recovered physical evidence. They did an R kit. one of her braids. They found one of her braids that had been torn from her scalp and some of her clothing. Now, the report mentioned some kind of video evidence, but did not say what the video showed. Okay, so somewhere they're talking about video evidence. Oh my gosh. At 4:23 p.m. on September 13th, Cleveland police responded to the 1000 block of 145th Street for a missing child report. Amari had been missing since roughly 2 p.m., they said. So she went missing about 2. They called law enforcement about 4:23. Several juveniles told investigators a young girl had led the victim to a field behind an athletic complex before striking her in the face with a rock, strangling her, undressing her. The juveniles then, so, how many think that the 10-year-old might have been the primary instigator in all this? Right? And it's just a question, It's just a question. Because the 10-year-old girl was the first one charged. They then led law enforcement to little Amari. Oh, hang on a sec. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys, please. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry. So, it's unclear why they stopped the attack. In cases involving juvenile defendant, charges are referred directly to the county prosecutor's office. It is rare for authorities to charge young children with heinous crimes, but in 2018, prosecutors accused a 10-year-old boy of unaliving his stepmother. Siobhan Willis was his name. No, that was her name. He was found delinquent and placed in custody until his 21st birthday. Do you guys see these kids just walking away from this? I don't know. I don't. So when the 10-year-old made her court appearance with charges of rape and attempted murder of a young child, she's not been named publicly. I couldn't imagine being her mother and finding her daughter like that. I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine. I would probably be in prison. I would probably be in prison. Eight, 9, and 10. For what? And the 10-year-old, I think they've been moving her around a little bit. I don't know how they could have even took her back to that neighborhood, to that community at all. Right? Everything that they did to her, they obviously was trying to make sure that she was not living. But she does need justice. She really does. And I know people don't care about these things, I completely get it. People don't care about hearing about stuff like this. I would be scared to death that they would do it again, Poppy. Absolutely. I would be very frightened. For sure. But you know how it is. I mean, it is very sad. Can you look at a 8, 9, and 10-year-old and say that they had the enough mental capacity to premeditate something like this? Was it premeditated? They did not even know her. They didn't even know her, from my understanding, right? It's crazy. Now, from my understanding, they wasn't even going to charge the 9-year-old. They were going to charge the 10-year-old. They finally found something that they could charge the 9-year-old on. For sure. For sure. And, I don't care if people want to listen to me talk about it. There's plenty of other channels who are more eloquent on how they say it. Go give it a listen. Go pay attention to it. It's just an important case. This little girl needs justice. She just needs justice. Now, Mom's Facebook, I will pull it up here before I'm done. Mom's Facebook. There is a, she has something in there. I believe she's needing signatures. I had it pulled up and I ended up losing it. We're not talking about a little girl getting her hair pulled by a group of kids, or, you know, it's not like a fight at school. These children did, I don't even know if I should call them children. I really don't. I don't know if I should call them children or not. All right, hang on. I got to do something real quick. I can't never, I get too mad. I get too mad. And then my verbiage goes out the window. All right, let me unmonetize this. They keep getting me. Well, no, I'm going to leave it on there. We'll see. I mean, all they can do is tell me to, like they always tell me, straighten my verbiage up. YouTube's been telling me that forever. They're like, girl, you need to tone it down, say it a little bit different. How do you say something like this different? Somebody answer me that. How do you try to make up words for something so vicious? It's hard. It's hard. But yes, the 9 and 10-year-old, 1 count of attempted murder, 4 counts of rape, 2 counts of felonious assault, 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of strangulation. Of course, they're going to have competency evaluations. They may not, this is the thing, they may not understand the court system, not fully understand the proceedings, but yet they had to have understood what they did was serious and would have serious consequences. They left her in a freaking field. But like I said, we'll never know a lot about these juveniles who did it at all. I couldn't imagine being a mother of a child that this would happen to. A child that you had when you were, I think mom's about 21. And you could just tell by the pictures and things that she took very good care of Amari. What a beautiful child. What a beautiful girl she is. And for other children, I mean, we hear about bullying and stuff, right? Of course we hear about bullying, name calling, and all kinds of other stuff. And this is just a lot. This is just a lot. Sad. Very sad. I guess I don't understand why they weren't put into a facility. Why would you let children go home to a home where somewhere in that environment, these children learned a behavior that they used to lure a 5-year-old girl out to a field to do things to her that my mind is still not grasping. An 8, 9, and 10-year-old doing these things. It's just not. Just not. Okay. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. What? Hang on. Okay. Hold on. Let me, I am going to go ahead and unmonetize this because I'm getting ready to talk about this other story too. All right. So hopefully justice gets done. You know how they charge parents when a child gets a hold of a weapon, right? And they use it and they maybe accidentally shoot their brother, sister, themselves. Parents can be charged for that. But we'll never know what DCF finds out for sure. For sure. Hang on, y'all. So I feel horrible for Amari's mother. I feel horrible for Amari. Our government needs to get its head out of its ass. Start watching out for our kids. I don't blame it all on the government because it's freaking adult, grown-ass people too. You know? I just think our children need to be protected more, but I can say that, but we're talking about an 8, 9, and 10-year-old who took a little girl, acted like they were being friendly. Crazy, right? So, all right. Moving on through here. Get ready for this one, you guys. Convicted child rapist in U.S. illegally. Ricardo Maya, a Salvadoran citizen sentenced to 30 years for raping an 11-year-old Virginia Beach girl. He was in the U.S. illegally and has an ICE detainer. An ICE detainer. Well, we're going to figure out what an ICE detainer is. So, Ricardo got 30 years, right? Okay. It was on a female child that was under the age of 13. She was 11 years old. Yeah, Poppy. Yep. I mean, honestly, where would any child even have the thought of doing the things that they did to Amari? We're talking about, I can say their ages 1,000 fucking times, and it's not going to change anything in my mind. Learned behavior. The strangulation, that is a, that is an intimate thing. We're not sure right now exactly which child did which act. I firmly believe that they should have never been allowed to go home. They should have immediately been put in state's custody. They should have immediately been sent to some type of juvenile mental health facility. If the 9-year-old's mama couldn't even get him to court to start with, I mean, seriously. Seriously. And I guess, there are times when children need to be protected from other children. All right, let me tell you about this loser. His name is Ricardo Leonel Magia. He's 35 years old. Lived on Mamie Boulevard in Norfolk, Virginia. He was sentenced on 3 counts of rape victim under age 13. He was sentenced to 75 years in prison with 45 years suspended, leaving 30 years to serve. Okay, 45 years suspended sentence, they're saying. Why is that? Well, he did plead guilty. He did, June 17th of 2025. It was proven that October 9th, 2024, the 11-year-old, hold on, you guys. I'll rip it up to Okay. Okay. So sorry. October 9, 2024, the 11-year-old victim's mother went to check on the victim before going to bed. The mother attempted to open the door, but it was locked. It was locked. So mom got a butter knife. We all know how we would use butter knives to open them doors. Okay. I know somebody besides myself has used a butter knife in their life to unlock some doors. You better believe it. Mom used it to open the door. Once she opened it, she saw this guy, 34-year-old Ricardo. He was bare-ass naked. Not only was he bare-ass naked, but he was in her 11-year-old daughter's bed. You better believe she yelled for her husband. Oh, Ricardo jumps up, grabs some of his clothes, heads out the bedroom window, right? He ran. He ran. Run, run. As fast as you can, Ricardo. because Dad got up. How they recognized Ricardo. The family had hired him. The family had hired him to renovate one of the bathrooms in their home. They sure did. The victim told police that the defendant had full-blown intercourse with her. They did find his DNA and spermatozoa. He admitting to having a relationship with the child, knowing that she was 11 years old. He knew she was underage. He said he jumped out the window because he was scared of a confrontation with the victim's father. Hey, Mr. A. No, you're fine. You are fine, Mr. A. Nobody cares what I'm talking about over here anyway. You're all good. We ain't got nobody causing no trouble over here. It's just us. It's just us. I think there's only 3 or 4 of us in here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, he knows Dad's coming. He knows Dad's coming. So he doesn't, he jumped out the window. But he says that also that October 9th, 2024 night was actually the third time that he had intercourse with this 11-year-old girl. Said the first time occurred a few days prior in the bathroom of the home when the victim's parents were not home. The second and third time, he just went in her bedroom. He just went in her freaking bedroom. 11 years old. I'm telling you. But this is what kind of gets me here. Let's pop over here. Let's see what this arrest detainer is. ICE lodges arrest detainer for convicted child rapist. The Biden administration marked as non-enforcement priority. I don't know what that means. We're getting ready to find out. U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, lodged an immigration detainer against a 35-year-old criminal illegal alien from El Salvador who was convicted of repeatedly R-ing an 11-year-old child in Virginia. ICE lodged the detainer against Ricardo Leonel Maya, or whatever his last name is. He was sentenced to 30 years. So an arrest detainer basically ensures that after his prison sentence, he is removed from our country and not able to prey on any more innocent children. Now, they say, I don't know if it's true, that the Biden administration marked this heinous criminal as a non-enforcement priority, allowing him to roam free and commit these child crimes. I agree, depraved criminal. He was hired to renovate a Virginia family's bathroom, committed the crimes against the child on 3 different occasions. He was convicted for 3 counts of a child under 13 and of breaking into the home. Prior convictions on 4 separate occasions for traffic offenses, including driving without a license and driving on a suspended license 3 times. Under the previous administration, an immigration judge terminated this guy's removal proceedings on July 25th, 2023, after he was marked as a non-enforcement priority. This allowed this guy to indefinitely remain in the U.S. illegally. Wow. I don't know if it has anything to do with Biden. I mean, we've talked about stuff like that before, for sure. Well, I mean, I'm going to sit here and say I'm not really getting political on this stuff. There are many people who came into our country illegally that worked their ass off, you know, and whether you want to admit it or not, there's a lot of them who work their ass off a lot harder than Americans work their ass off in our own country. That is just the truth. I'm not getting political or anything like that. You know, there are many people who I feel that do deserve, you know, to be here. But there's bad with the good. It's like no matter what you're talking about, there's bad and, you know, then there's good. So in October 2025, Ricardo Maya, a 35-year-old contractor from El Salvador, was sentenced to 30 years in prison in Virginia Beach, Virginia, for the rape of an 11-year-old girl. He was hired by the family to renovate a bathroom in their home. Mom caught him naked in the 11-year-old's bed after she had to get a butter knife to unlock the door. So he pled guilty to 3 counts of rape of a child under 13. He was sentenced to 75 years with 45 years suspended, resulting 30 years to serve. DNA analysis confirmed it was present in the victim. And he told law enforcement he did the deed 3 times with an 11-year-old. Confirmed he was here illegally. When he is done serving his time, he will be deported. Now, I'm not really sure about the previous administration, and this is the thing. If he only had prior, like, driving without a license and different things like that, then I wouldn't think he would come across the system as being dangerous, right? And I don't, you know, I don't know how ICE, you know, statistically puts individuals or whatever, but I mean, if they're telling us that he had, you know, prior, you know, little things like driving without a license or or suspended license, or how did he get a license to start with? How did he get a license to start with? I always get myself in these messes where I have more questions than anything. How did you? And no, I do not blame them for putting the detainer on, because what happens a lot of time, if that's what I'm saying, Poppy. I read where he had, driving without a license and stuff, suspended. It's like, okay, wait a minute. And he he admitted to it. So yes, he will be sent on his way after the charges. Actually, here he is. I'll show you guys. Hold on, guys. This is on Facebook, so here we go. Wait, guys, I have to make sure. My little thingy came up here. Here we go.
Raping an 11-year-old girl 3 times. Her family hired him to renovate their bathroom, and he was assaulting the child. The third time this was happening, the mother heard noises at around 2:30 in the morning coming from the child's bedroom. The door was locked. She got a butter knife, opened the door, and saw the man that she had hired to do contracting work at her house on top of her daughter. He grabbed his clothes naked and jumped out of the window of their house. We now know that he's from El Salvador, and ICE issued a detainer for him back when he was arrested in October of last year. WTKR has been following this case from the very beginning and was in the courtroom when he was sentenced. Go to our website at WTKR.com to read our full investigation on this. Ricardo.
Yeah. No, we talked about that. On a lot of different cases I've talked about. Remember the little girl that luckily law enforcement found her in a vehicle because they got the license plate from a license plate reader as her, and I believe it was 4 grown adult men were in a vehicle with her, taking her across country to allegedly meet up with another man. And by the grace of God, that little girl was saved. I've talked about too many different stories like that, for sure. For sure. But it is sad. I mean, people, sometimes I understand why people don't like hearing about these types of cases and stuff. I totally get it. I do. It's not easy to talk about cases like this either. It's not. I mean, and I've been following a few, but I kind of took a brain break on a lot of the stuff. Just because you have to, just for your own mental health, for sure. If you are a true crime junkie, sometimes you got to take a break from your brain, for sure. So, But yes, it happens. It definitely happens. Oh, thanks, Eve. Yeah, I do care. I really do care. And I really think you guys, Amari Jones, let me pull up that. I want to pull up what her mom wanted people to go over and sign. That's the most important thing is to make sure. Oh my God. All right, hang on. Okay, hold on. I don't have her name pulled up anymore. I gotta find mom's name. Here it is. Antavia. Could you imagine? I couldn't imagine, bless her heart, to find her daughter like that. To find her daughter like that is heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. Here is, I'll show you guys her Facebook. They hurt her baby. Bless her heart. And I know that they're children. But does that matter? Does that matter? Let me see if I can find. She's got a, that's her Facebook if you guys want to go check it out. Well, here's where the young boy went to court. Here we go.
Do you have any questions about your rights?
This is
No,
a
he's
9-year-old
shaking his
boy.
head no.
in
This
court.
morning, a 9-year-old boy walked into a juvenile courtroom with 2 family members. The boy is one of 2 young children accused of raping and brutally attacking a 5-year-old girl in mid-September. Both children denying those allegations in court.
Again, this case resulted in a 5-year-old being left naked, beaten, urinated upon in the field, and left for hours. The evidence demonstrated to the prosecution indicates that MB was one of 2 primary assailants to that poor little girl.
Last week, the 9-year-old
Yes,
suspect
sir.
in this case was arraigned, and Judge Kristen Sweeney ordered her to home detention with ankle monitoring. Today, the mother of the 5-year-old victim asked the judge to consider a different option for the 9-year-old boy.
I do not believe that these kids should be able to return home. Their behavior that caused them to do something so evil obviously started at home.
That's right.
Judge Sweeney
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It had to have started in these children's homes. Somewhere that behavior had to have started somewhere. How would a 8-year-old or 9-year-old or 10-year-old know how to have forcible intercourse with anybody? Right? It
ultimately
sucks.
did order the boy to home detention with ankle monitoring, but she added this.
Well, I am just going to put this on the record too. The court will be asking the county to do an investigation, Children and Family Services to be doing an
Yes.
investigation in this matter. And that's all I'm going to say about that at the present time.
That's all the judge is going to say. Like I said, it's going to go to the, they are probably investigating all of these children's homes like you guys wouldn't believe. I can guarantee you they're going to investigate these homes. Justice needs to be served. And if these children did these things because perhaps they have something going on in their home that possibly could have put these thoughts in their minds. I don't know. This is my thing. Why did you even let them go back to their homes? They tried to unalive a 5-year-old. Why even let them go back home? If the DNA, I don't know. Wait, I'm getting my cases confused, I think.
Each child has also been ordered to complete a competency evaluation. Court staff explained today that during those evaluations, professionals will look at factors like age, mental health, intellect, and maturity.
Because I fully expect that there will be at least 2 psychologists who will be assessing that issue. We will be setting the competency hearing sometime in January, probably towards the end of January.
And the victim's mom previously told me she wants her daughter's story to be told, and most of all, to see justice in this case. And some new information we just learned: the court has set an emergency custody hearing for the 9-year-old boy tomorrow morning.
Okay, so the 9 years old is an emergency custody hearing. I don't know. I hope justice gets served, and you know, this is and what these kids have done is horrendous, and it's going to be horrible also if we learn that any of these 3 children were being put through horrible things at their home. I just don't know, but I wanted to get it out there. I just wanted to get it out there and kind of make sure that I've talked about it and getting justice out there for Amari Jones. There's just too much going on in the real world, you guys. Too much going on in the real world. Now, I might come live later on, because I'm being nosy. Something's going on I'm being nosy about. You guys know how I am when I'm being nosy. But I ain't going to tell you what I'm being nosy about yet. So I think I'm probably maybe later on come live for about an hour. I'm going to try to start keeping my lives a little bit short instead of being on here for a long period of times. I mean, it doesn't serve the purpose anyway. People are going to come and watch or hang out and listen or whatever if they want to. And, you know, if they don't, they don't. And I'm good with that. But I did want to get her name out there. So, but I'm going to get off here right now. And thank you guys for coming in. I do appreciate you. Thank you for giving me an hour and 20 minutes of your time. And let's keep these babies' thoughts, you know, let's keep them in our prayers. And let's make sure that Amari's mom knows that, you know, we are praying for her and her baby. And, you know, it's a sad world we live in right now. So later, Mr. A. Thank you. Thanks, Poppy. All right. Bye, guys.